welcome to today's video. So today I want to play around with a fun technique that I was goofing off trying to figure out, and that is how to easily create kind of a cheetah print. So I'm starting out with a gold, a brown, and a kind of buff flesh kind of color. I know, not my usual color palette. And I'm actually just taking just a flat edge brush and just making irregular shapes. We don't want them to be perfect circles because, I mean, no cheetah prints are perfectly circular. So I'm just kind of making squiggly, I don't know, squiggly blobs. Let's call them squiggly blobs. We're going squiggly blobs. And I wanted to keep this kind of neutral. So like I said, I've got a gold, I've got a metallic brown, and then just kind of like a buff color. And I thought it would be super fun to try to mimic this. This was a technique that I was kind of playing with, and I thought it would be fun because I'm not really a cheetah animal print pattern kind of person. Um, but I still think it's kind of cool, and I think it's a super fun and actually really easy technique for anyone to be able to do. It doesn't take any kind of special skills or any like super creativity, because let's be honest, you're just making little blobs. I think this would be super fun to try in my normal color palette of my pinks and turquoise and yellows and make like an 80s themed cheetah situation. I think it would be great. So you can see I've kind of filled that page. We are actually in the Illustrating Bible, the Gospels edition, and we are in Luke chapter 4. And so I'm going ahead and using the heat gun to dry this first layer because my gold and my browns are a little I don't know, a little transparent, but that's okay. So you might see me add a few layers extra here and there to my gold and my brown just to make them a little less opaque. I might do that later. I might have already done it. I don't know. All right, and so to add our black on the outside, I'm actually going to use, it's a watercolor brush that is a kind of has that blunt rounded tip. And I'm going to use it this way because I don't want to do just swipes. I'm actually using the tip of the brush and dabbing it down. And the reason I like doing this is because of the way the bristles are done, since they do have kind of that edge, it's giving me a little bit of like a fur texture. So I'm literally just using a black acrylic paint and just tapping it. You can see there I kind of played with what a swipe looks like and I didn't like it. And also notice I'm not putting the black all the way around my colors because again, think of your cheetah print. It's all the colorful spots aren't completely encapsulated, encompassed by the black. There's that room for it to breathe. So I'm just having fun and putting all of those little kind of black furry patches, whatever you want to call them, around it. I think this is super fun, and again, it's super easy to do. Just make your irregular shapes, dab your black, or you can even do like a dark brown if you didn't want it as dark. I thought I had a few little places that could use some filling, so I'm just going back in with my colors and adding in some more of those irregular shapes into the background. Like I said, we are in our Illustrating Bible in Luke chapter 4. And it's one of those where I'm not necessarily Bible journaling a specific verse, but more just an idea. And I really liked just this idea. So we're in Luke 4, in the beginning of chapter 4 is the part where Jesus is being tested in the wilderness, and he has been there for 40 days. And of course, Satan comes and tells him all sorts of shenanigans and tries to get him to just be bad. Just be bad. And so I wanted to use this page, not necessarily to document the story, but more just the concept of the wilderness doesn't last forever. Right here, I wanted to add some smaller dots to fill in some of that white space. So I'm just using the end of my paintbrush and just dotting them in. Kind of goes along with like the natural look of your cheetah, so they have extra little spots sometimes. But in this particular page, I wanted to just, like I said, document that idea that the wilderness doesn't last forever. Yes, Jesus was out there for 40 days and he had a lot of stuff going on and he was hungry and he was tired and all the stuff that we go through in life, but his wilderness ended. You know, there are so many times in the Bible where people are going through horrible things, you know, Job, the Israelites, and all these other people go through just really, really just horrible times in their life, but eventually they did end. They weren't that way for their entire life. And I think for me, that definitely brings hope that no matter what the desert is, no matter what the wilderness is, that eventually it is going to end. I might not know when, might not know how, I might not know the answers of the whys. I might not know why it's going to end, how it's going to end, when it's going to end, or why I've gone through it. But I do know at some point it's going to end. And of course, the Bible does say that God works all things for his glory for those who believe in Christ Jesus. And so I have to believe that even in the midst of my wilderness, that number one, it is going to come to an end. And number two, there's going to be some reason for it. And I don't know what that is. Rarely do we know why we go through a wilderness when we're in the middle of the wilderness. Usually it's not till the end when we figure out why God allowed us to go through something and he tells us how it's going to work, even if it's by our own stupidity. Sometimes our wilderness is our fault. Sometimes we did something stupid, and yes, there is grace, and yes, there's forgiveness, but there's also consequences that we have to deal with. But the wilderness does end. So you can see here, I actually just printed these words off in a Word document, and then I'm going in and I wanted them to blend into my background a little bit. So any place where they touch the black, I'm kind of doing that same technique with a smaller brush so that they kind of blend in. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of gold just to give them some oomph. So that is our page for today. I hope you enjoyed this super easy technique on how you can make your own cheetah print. And I hope you leave with just the faith to know that the wilderness doesn't last forever, guys. Thanks for showing up, and I'll see you guys next time.